Hey guys, Jonathan was here for JM Sports 100 and the JM Sports Show. How is it going? I'm here to make NFL picks for week 2 in the 2014 NFL season. One game is down already. I'll talk about that in a second. But first, for those of you who did not see my video that I posted on Thursday after the game, I have decided to cut spread. Potentially permanently, probably not, but at least for a while, I'm just going to pick straight up. I will put a link in the description to that video where I said why, because I don't want to re-go through it, so I'm not going to. So I'll put a link in the description to the video, so you can go check that out if you're interested. So because I decided to cut spread, I decided to neglect the spread pick that I made for Thursday, or get rid of it, I guess, which we would have lost anyway. We also did have Pittsburgh beating Baltimore straight up. I had said in the pick video that I made for Thursday's pick that I was more comfortable with Pittsburgh than I was Baltimore. Pittsburgh's in trouble. That's just all there is to it. And I know it was a game that changed my tune. I kind of thought that maybe it was just the fact that Pittsburgh kind of backed down on Cleveland a little bit last week. I don't think so. I think Pittsburgh is just really in trouble. All right, so with that, we are going to not even say the spread record because it doesn't matter at this point. But I will tell you that we are now 8-9 straight up. We had a bit of a rough week. We are 601, 375, and 2 lifetime. And so here we go. First of all, we have Atlanta and Cincinnati. Remember, this is strictly straight up. Both these teams coming in here 1-0. Atlanta getting a win against the Saints. Cincinnati getting a win against the Ravens. I'm just gonna flat out tell you right now, I'm going with Cincinnati in this game. Yes, Atlanta did beat New Orleans, but they still didn't look great doing it. Atlanta struggles on the road. Cincinnati does not struggle at home. Cincinnati is a really good football team. I knew it going into the year. It was Andy Dalton struggles in the red zone, but other than that, since Andy Dalton is a good quarterback and I think they're just better. I'm going with Cincinnati. Miami and Buffalo, interesting game here. Both these teams coming in 1-0. Miami getting a big win against the Patriots. Patriots could have some problems. We'll talk about that when we get to their game. Buffalo getting an overtime win against Chicago. This game could go either way. I'm nervous to pick it, personally, and I'll tell you why. First, before I do that, I've been doing these straight up picks for not necessarily here on YouTube, but just in general for about, I think, at least 5, 6 years now, at least maybe longer. In Miami, I don't know what it is about Miami. When I pick them to win, they lose, and I pick them to lose, they win. Sorry, Miami fans. I'm picking you to win, so you could take a loss here, but I'll just tell you why. I'm a little nervous about it just because Miami coming off of a big win against New England last week. That kind of makes me a little bit nervous, but um, I'm comfortable with Miami. I like what I saw out of Miami, and I think they're the better team. I do think Buffalo is a good team. I think Miami is a little bit better. It is back-to-back division games. That could also be a problem, but I am going with Miami. The Saints and the Browns, both teams coming in 0-1. Now, yes, Cleveland was close to Pittsburgh last week, like we said, but there's a difference between New Orleans and Pittsburgh. New Orleans is not always great away from the Superdome. However, New Orleans is not very happy about letting one get away last week against Atlanta. I can almost promise you, Cleveland is not great. Brian Hoyer is a good quarterback, and good. I use that term somewhat loosely. Obviously, if I had to pick a quarterback, I'm taking Breeze over Hoyer. If I had to pick a team, I'm taking the Saints over the Browns. Saints, like I said, I don't think there's any way that the Saints fall to 0-2. In fact, I am making that my lock of the week. For those of you who do not know what my lock of the week is, I pick a team I guarantee basically a win for that team. I only use the team once, so once I use the team 1 week, I will never use that. I will not use them for the rest of the season. Last week we took Houston. Houston gave us a scare in the beginning there, but did come back to get the win and make us 1-0 in the lock of the week. Next up, we have Dallas and Tennessee. I apologize for that. And I'm gonna make a lot of fans here when I say this, and I'm gonna make a lot of haters when I say this too. I'm going with Tennessee to win this football game. Dallas is a mess. But here's the weird thing. Everybody expected going into the game against San Francisco that Dallas's defense would lose that game for them. Dallas's defense didn't lose that game for them. The offense did. The offense is a mess. The defense is not great. Tennessee, Jake Locker is not my favorite quarterback. He's just not. However, I think right now Tennessee is better than Dallas. I really do. Dallas is a mess. Basically, this is going to be, I believe, an abysmal year for Dallas. I'm going with the Titans to win this game. Detroit and Carolina, I have flip flopped on this game a little bit. I didn't think Carolina was going to be able to win with Derek Anderson as quarterback last week against the Bucks. I was obviously wrong. But you know what? Cam Newton is, I believe, at least last I've seen, is expected to be back against his Lions team, but he's still never thrown an NFL pass to any of those receivers. The Detroit Lions are good. The Detroit Lions had a big primetime game. Historically, last week, they're not very good in these spots that kind of fall flat, but it almost just feels like Jim Caldwell has changed the culture in Detroit. I do think it's a different culture. I don't think Detroit is great. I definitely don't think they're the best team in the NFC North. But I do think that they will be able to get a win against Carolina. I do think they're a good team. I'm going with the Lions. New England and Minnesota. Now, New England has some serious offensive line issues going on. I think they showed that last week against Miami. Tom Brady was just in trouble a lot. If you would have said something if I would have did this video yesterday, I would have said, hey, there's a chance that the Vikings could potentially win this game. The Vikings defense is not bad. I do think they will be able to get a little bit of pressure on Tom Brady. However, offensively, they're of course obviously now missing their biggest weapon with Adrian Peterson being deactivated for the game because of the abuse charge, the charges that he was indicted on. I'm not going to talk about them here. That's not why we're here to do this. I'm just saying that's a big role. So I do think that with AP, the Vikings could have won this game. Without him, I don't think there's really a chance. I'm going with Patriots. Arizona and the New York Giants. All right, New York fans, I'm sorry, but this is truth. The Giants are bad. Okay, watched them on Monday night, and they are painful. Without an offensive line in this league, Eli Manning is in trouble. Eli Manning needs an offensive line because he needs time to throw because he can't scramble. He's not a mobile quarterback at all. And he doesn't have one. Okay, that's just all there is to it. He doesn't have one. Arizona's defense is not terrible. They got a win against San Diego last week, which I didn't expect them to do. I do think Arizona's a good team. I do think that the NFC West is pretty competitive. I still think it's the Seattle-San Francisco division, but Arizona is not real far behind. A lot like the Jake Locker thing. Carson Palmer is not my favorite quarterback anymore. I do think that the Cardinals are going to win, though. The Giants are going to win games this year, but it's bad. Jacksonville and Washington, both these teams coming in with a loss. Washington has the longest losing streak currently in the NFL. Houston extended the Redskins and snapped theirs by beating them last week. Jacksonville's got some real players. They do. They're not, ready to be elite. They're not ready to be a great team. But Jacksonville still has players. The Redskins make me a little bit nervous here. The Redskins they don't look in sync. I think I'm probably going to take some heat for saying this too. The RG3 thing in Washington, at least to this point, just isn't working. I'm sorry, but it's not working. I know it's still early, but it's just not working. Meanwhile, Jacksonville really I don't want to say let one slip because they beyond slipped last week against Philadelphia. I do think Jacksonville's good. I think Washington is a little better. Not much. Jacksonville will be able to get some pressure on RG3. RG3 going to do a lot of scrambling, as always. And I think that the Redskins win, but I think it's a lot tighter than people think it is. Or than people think it's going to be. St. Louis and Tampa Bay is next up. St. Louis 0-1, Tampa Bay 0-1. I had a difficult time picking this game. Okay, I thought Tampa Bay was going to play better against Carolina last week than they did. St. Louis basically did what I expected them to do. Um, I'm going with Tampa Bay. That's what all I can say at this point is I'm just going with Tampa Bay. Seattle and San Diego. Now this game is interesting. A lot of people are, and I know we're not doing spreads, but I'm going to say it anyway. A lot of people are expecting Seattle to run away with this game, and I don't think they do. Okay, I heard something interesting a couple days ago. I went and looked it up, and it's true. Seattle, San Diego is kind of sandwiched right now for Seattle. Last week they played Green Bay. Next week they played Denver. I don't think Seattle is all that worried about San Diego, maybe overlooking them a little bit. I still think Seattle gets the win, but I think San Diego's a really good football team. Even though they lost to Arizona last week, they're still a really good football team. They're a playoff team last year. I do think Seattle wins, but I think Seattle wins tighter than, once again, a lot like the Washington game. I think Seattle wins tighter than people expect. Kansas City and Denver. Sorry, Kansas City fans, your team is bad. They were a playoff team last year, but they stumbled down the stretch. They're stumbling into this year. They played horrible against the Titans. I picked the Chiefs to win straight up. Didn't pick them to cover the spread last week, but I picked them to win straight up. They obviously did not do that. They got thrashed by the Titans. Didn't see that coming. Uh, and Denver is just Denver, okay? I think they do have a little bit of concern because I had a hard time getting to Andrew Luck last Sunday. Even in situations where you knew that he wouldn't be rushing, you knew it was obviously a passing situation for Denver. Denver still, or for Indianapolis, Denver still struggled to get to Andrew Luck. So that's a little concerning, but Kansas City is just bad. It's in Denver. It's a division game. I think Denver gets the win. New York Jets, Green Bay Packers. Okay, the Jets beat the Raiders, but Geno Smith played bad. The Jets played the Jets played bad. That's just all there is to it. Green Bay didn't play that great in Seattle. Living in Green Bay, I'm hearing, or not, I'm sorry, not living in Green Bay, living in Wisconsin, rather. I'm hearing a lot of the Packers are just done, they're toast, settle down. No, they're not. Okay, I do think they certainly have their concerns, but I don't think they're toast. Let's remember they lost to the defending Super Bowl champions, who arguably had the best roster in the league. So I'm not real worried about the Packers yet. The Jets, I wasn't expecting much of this from the Jets anyway. I think they'll be somewhat competitive, but I still think that in the AFC East, that's just still the Patriots division. Um, I do think the Packers get the win. They're at Lambeau, season opener. Packers not going to be happy with what happened in Seattle. The Packers will spread the ball out more, better than what they did last Thursday as they were able to shut down Richard Sherman. I do have the Packers winning the game. Houston and Oakland. Obviously, Bill O'Brien, I don't know yet. We obviously don't know one game in what kind of head coach he's going to be. But in Oakland is not somebody you should take lightly. They're not a bad football team. I said it last week. The culture in Oakland seems to be turning around. I don't think they're quite there yet. I do have Houston beating Oakland. Sunday night games, Chicago Bears, San Francisco 49ers. Niners, of course, beat the Cowboys. Bears lost to the Bills in overtime. The Bears have one big issue on defense, and that is their run defense. What does San Francisco do almost better than almost any other team in the league? They run. Uh, with Frank Gore, they run. That 49ers offense is a good running team. I do think that they will be able to exploit that. I do think they'll pound the ball against the Bears and get the win. Carlos Hyde also the other part of the running attack for the 49ers there. I do have the 49ers beating the Bears. The Monday night game, it's going to be an aerial assault. It's going to be fun. Here we go. Nick Foles in Philadelphia versus Andrew Luck in the Indianapolis Colts. This game wouldn't surprise me to go either way. Okay, Philadelphia is good. They struggled against Jacksonville for the first half yesterday, or last Sunday. You know, Chip Kelly is a good head coach. I'm not quite ready to say great yet, but as far as NFL goes, he's a good head coach. Meanwhile, Chuck Pagano is too. The Colts not very happy coming off of the loss against Denver, obviously. I'm a little iffy to say that the Colts go 0-2. And like I said, this game could go either way. It's going to be an incredibly tight game, incredibly high scoring. It's almost a coin flip to me, I think. And I am going to go with the Eagles to get the win, but I'm a little bit uncomfortable there in that one. Also, I do want to make one more note as far as the Bears go. The Bears cannot afford to fall to 0-2. They just cannot. If they want to stay in this division race, this is a must-win game. The Bear 49er game is already only 2 weeks in, a must-win game for the San Francisco 49ers. Alright guys, don't forget to check out the video as to why I don't pick the spread, either anymore or just currently, whatever I decide to do, link will be in the description for that. Also, don't forget to like the JM Sports Show page on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. This video is incredibly long. Holy crap, I apologize. That is going to do for me. I am Jonathan Mozart for JM Sports 100 and the JM Sports Show, and I will see you guys later.